I never expected my life to matter beyond a single forgotten planet on the edge of human space. I was not a hero, not a general, not even important enough for history to remember my name. I was just a human technician, sent to maintain communication arrays on a neutral trade station orbiting the dead star Velaris. That was before the night the galaxy stopped being silent. The station alarms didn't scream. They whispered. A low, unfamiliar hum passed through the metal walls, vibrating deep in my chest. The lights dimmed, then shifted color from white to a cold, alien blue. Every human instinct in my body told me to run. Instead, I walked toward the docking bay. I still don't know why. The airlock doors were open. A royal vessel hovered just beyond them, sleek, organic, glowing with symbols I had only seen in forbidden archives. This wasn't a trader. This wasn't a diplomat. This was royalty, and then I saw her. She stepped forward slowly, as if gravity itself bent to her presence. Tall, regal, skin shimmering with an iridescent hue that no human word could describe. Her eyes ancient, calculating, and afraid, the alien queen of Orales. She collapsed before she reached the threshold. I caught her without thinking. Her armor was cracked, burned. Her breathing shallow, blood blue and luminous, stained my hands. Behind her the stars went dark. Empires were hunting her. I should have turned her over, any sane species would have. But when her eyes met mine, something changed. She didn't look at me like a lesser being. She didn't look at me like prey. She looked at me like hope. In a voice barely louder than a breath, she spoke words that would rewrite the laws of the galaxy. Human, if I fall, my child must live. I didn't understand. Not yet. I carried her into the station, unaware that this single act, this one human choice, would ignite fear across 1,000 worlds. Because what the galaxy didn't know yet, what no empire was prepared for, was that the alien queen carried a human child. And that child would change everything. She was burning up, not heat, energy. The moment I laid the alien queen on the medical platform, every scanner I owned went insane. Readings spiked, crashed, then flatlined as if reality itself couldn't decide what she was. Her biology wasn't just alien. It was guarded, encrypted at a cellular level. I sealed the medbay and cut external comms. If the galactic empires traced her signal here, the station would be ash within minutes. She woke suddenly, eyes wide, hand gripping my wrist with terrifying strength. "Do not call your kind," she said sharply. "I wasn't going to," I replied, surprised at how calm my voice sounded. Her grip loosened. "Good. Why?" she asked. "Why help me?" I didn't have a heroic answer. "Because you were dying," I said, "and because no one deserves to die alone in space." She studied me, not my face, my biology. Her pupils shifted, fractals spinning inside liquid light. A scanning gaze far more advanced than anything humans had built. Her expression changed. Shock, fear, recognition. "You are unaltered," she whispered. I frowned. "Most humans are." She sat up despite the pain. "No," she said. "Your species alters nothing, no gene locks, no purity seals, no lineage control." She inhaled sharply. "That is why you were never invited into the galactic bloodlines." That's when the truth hit me. This wasn't about love. This wasn't about desire. This was about compatibility. Her hand moved to her abdomen instinctively. The med scanner confirmed it seconds later. Life detected. Hybrid genetic fusion stable. My chest tightened. "You're saying," I stopped. "That's impossible." "It should be," she replied, "for every other species." Silence crashed between us. Then the alarms screamed, not station alarm. Imperial warp signatures. They had found her. The queen rose, forcing herself into fractured armor. "If they take me," she said, voice hard now, regal again, "they will erase the child." I swallowed. "And me, they will dissect you." Fast, clean, casual, I didn't hesitate. "Then we run," she stared. Humans weren't supposed to stand between empires and queens, but I wasn't thinking about politics. I was thinking about one truth the galaxy had ignored for too long. Humans didn't need permission to matter. And for the first time in recorded history, a queen trusted her future to a human. The station shook, not from weapons, from gravity. Imperial cruisers didn't fire warning shots. They bent space itself, crushing escape routes before prey even realized it was trapped. My console screamed red. "3 capital ships," I muttered. "They're not here to negotiate." The queen's jaw tightened. "They never are." I rerouted power from life support to engines. Risky. Desperate, very human. Your people don't allow cross-blood offspring, do they? I asked as the station lurched. Her silence was answer enough. They call it lineage contamination, she finally said. Any hybrid threatens the throne. So this isn't about you running, I said. It's about them panicking. Yes, she turned to face me fully now. You were never meant to exist in our genetic equations. That line stuck. Not welcome, not approved, not meant to exist. The dock doors blew open. Fighters poured in like insects. Sleek, silver, surgical, not war machines, executioners. I slammed the thrusters. The station screamed as it tore free, slipping sideways through a half-collapsed warp corridor. One fighter clipped us. Another latched on, boarding alarms wailed. They'll be inside in 30 seconds, I said. The Queen didn't panic. She touched my arm. Listen carefully, she said. What I'm about to tell you is why your species terrifies the Council. Great timing. Every intelligent species in this galaxy edits itself, she continued. Aggression suppressed, curiosity limited, reproduction controlled. I fired the station's last defense drone, missed. They learned long ago that raw evolution is dangerous. Boarding charge detonated. They left humans untouched, she said quietly. I grabbed a rifle. They thought you'd burn yourselves out. Metal tore open behind. They were wrong. Imperial soldiers flooded in, 6 of them, armored in gold and white, rifles humming with ionized death. They stopped. Not because of the weapon in my hands, because of her. Your Majesty, one said, kneeling. She stepped forward. I abdicate, she said flatly, and I claim sanctuary under human protection. The soldiers froze. That wasn't protocol. That wasn't possible. She turned to me. Now, she said, show them what an unedited species does when cornered. I smiled grimly. I pulled the trigger, not because I wanted to kill, but because humans don't wait to be erased. The first soldier raised his rifle. He never fired. I dropped low, slid across the deck, and fired upward, not center mass, joint servos. His knee exploded in sparks. He screamed and went down hard. The others hesitated. That was their mistake. Aliens are trained for symmetry, formation, rules. Humans are trained for outcomes. I slammed the rifle butt into the second soldier's visor, shattered it, and pulled him into the line of fire meant for me. Blue iron bolts tore through his armor. The Queen backed against the wall, eyes wide, not in fear. In calculation, 2 more rushed me. I threw the empty rifle. They flinched. I didn't wait. I closed distance. Elbows, knees. Gravity-assisted violence. I drove one into the bulkhead hard enough to dent alloy plating. The other tried to retreat. I grabbed his weapon mid-charge and twisted. Bones snapped. He howled. Silence followed. 6 soldiers entered. None walked out. My hands shook afterward, not from fear, from adrenaline withdrawal. The Queen stared at the bodies. You don't fight like predators, she said slowly. I wiped blood from my cheek. No, I replied. We fight like survivors. She knelt beside one fallen soldier, studying the damage. You targeted mobility first, she murmured. Pain second, lethality last. Dead enemies aren't useful, I said. Broken ones send messages. She looked up at me sharply. That doctrine isn't taught. It's learned, I said, usually the hard way. The station trembled again. More ships were arriving, capital scale this time. The Queen stood, composure returning, but something had changed. You weren't supposed to protect us, she said. I shrugged. Story of our species. She activated a hologram. Galactic law scrolled across the air. Hybrid offspring are classified as destabilization events, she said. Their existence triggers containment protocols. How bad? I asked. Her voice dropped. Planetary sterilization. That hit harder than any weapon. They'd glass worlds to erase a child? I asked. They've done it before, she replied. Quietly, I clenched my fists. So what now? I asked. She met my eyes. Now, she said, you take me somewhere impossible. Define impossible, she smiled just slightly. A place the Council believes humans would never dare to go. I already knew the answer. The dead spiral. A region of warped gravity, broken physics, and shredded fleets. A place only humans ever entered and survived. I turned back to the console. Hold on, I said. The engines screamed, and the galaxy began to understand something it had forgotten. Humans don't ask permission to exist. The dead spiral didn't look like death at first. It looked wrong, stars bent sideways. Light twisted into spirals like it was being dragged down invisible drains. My instruments screamed warnings in 3 languages, 2 of them extinct. The Queen gripped the console. "This region violates navigational law," she said. "Yeah," I replied. "That's why we like it." Her eyes flicked to me. "You've been here before." "Once," I said. "Didn't enjoy it." The ship lurched as gravity inverted. Up became left, left became irrelevant. My armor locked my spine as inertial dampeners struggled to keep up. Alien ships trying to follow us weren't so lucky. I watched on the rear feed. 3 cruisers entered the spiral. 1 vanished instantly, compressed into a line of light and gone. Another tore itself apart as its own gravity generators fought the local field. The 3rd tried to retreat. The spiral didn't allow retreats. The Queen covered her mouth. "You brought us into a natural execution zone," she whispered. "No," I corrected. "A filter." She looked at me. "Only ships built to survive chaos make it through," I said. "Everyone else gets sorted out." Silence fell heavy between us. "You evolved on a stable world," she said slowly. "Predictable seasons, consistent physics." I laughed once, short and humorless. "Our planet spins at lethal speeds, shakes itself with tectonic rage, bombards us with radiation, tries to drown, burn, freeze, and starve us daily." I pulled up Earth's data, storms, earthquakes. "Predators, disease curves. We didn't conquer nature," I said. "We adapted faster than it could kill us." The Queen stared at the visuals. "This environment would be classified as a death world," she said. "It is," I replied. "We just call it home." The ship screamed again, hull stress climbing. A distortion wave slammed us sideways. The Queen was thrown from her seat. I caught her. Her heartbeat was racing too fast. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded, stunned. "Your reflexes, your grip strength, adrenaline," I said. "You're carrying my kid, my body's not letting you fall." That hit her harder than the turbulence. "You accept this bond without hesitation," she said. "Because it's already real," I replied. "Paperwork doesn't change that." We reached the spiral's core, a hollow pocket of calm. Physics stabilized barely. I cut engines. Behind us, the galaxy's most powerful fleet refused to cross the threshold. They hovered at the edge, afraid. The Queen looked back at them. "For the first time," she said quietly, "the Council is uncertain." "Good," I said, "they should be." She turned to me. "If they cannot erase the child, they will negotiate." "And if they do?" I asked. Her eyes hardened. "Then they will learn," she said, "why humans are never meant to be cornered." I smiled. "Welcome to human diplomacy." They didn't cross the spiral. They sent words instead. A tight beam transmission cut through the comm pocket, encoded, layered, afraid. The Council seal bloomed across the holoscreen. 7 species, 9 eyes watching, none of them blinking. "Human operative," the lead counselor said. "You are harboring royal property." The Queen stiffened beside me. I leaned back in my chair. "Funny, last I checked, people weren't property." A ripple of irritation passed through the chamber. "You misunderstand," another voice said. "The child represents a destabilizing variable." I glanced at the Queen. "They always talk like that." "When they're scared," she replied. The lead counselor folded its hands, too many fingers, all trembling slightly. "This is not without precedent," it said. The word landed heavy. "Precedent?" I echoed. The Queen inhaled slowly. "There have been others," she said. "Long ago." The council chamber shifted, archives opening. Ancient star maps filled the screen. "Hybrid offspring," the counselor continued, "born of Deathworld genetics and high-caste psionics." My jaw tightened. "And?" I asked. "And every one of them rewrote the balance of power," it said. "Wars ended or began around them." One image froze. A star system cracked open like an egg. Another showed a fleet kneeling, not destroyed, kneeling. I felt something cold slide down my spine. What happened to them? I asked. Silence. The Queen answered instead. They were hunted, she said, before they could choose who they would become. Her voice didn't shake, but her hand found mine. Because you were afraid, I said. Yes, the council admitted, and because we survived. I leaned forward. You're not doing it again. The lead counselor's eyes narrowed. You are one human, it said. You cannot defy the galaxy. I tapped the console. Behind us, gravity sensors spiked, not hostile, watching. You see that anomaly outside your range? I asked. That's a human listening post. The Queen looked at me sharply. You called them? No, I said. They were already watching. The council chamber erupted in overlapping voices. You brought Deathworlders into royal bloodlines. You destabilized succession. You violated containment protocols. I cut the channel. Silence snapped back like a held breath released. The Queen stared at me. You just silenced the council. They'll live, I said. For now. She studied my face. You are not afraid, she said. I am, I replied. Just not of them. She placed a hand over her abdomen. The child is already different, she said quietly. Sensitive, aware. How aware? I asked. Her eyes glowed faintly. It reacts when you're angry, she said. And when you're calm, I exhaled. That's new. She met my gaze. If they come for us, she said, they will come soon. I nodded. Then we stopped running. Outside the spiral, something massive shifted, ancient engines waking. And for the first time, the galaxy realized the child was no longer unprotected. The fleet didn't jump in with thunder. No dramatic light, no weapons charged, no formation meant to intimidate. It arrived calmly. 23 human vessels slid out of fold space like they'd always been there. Dark hulls, minimal emissions, no banners. Professional. The Queen stared at the tactical display, disbelief cutting through her composure. That's all of them? She asked. All of who? I replied. She turned to me. Your empire. I shook my head. No. That's a response team. Her breath caught. Each ship held position not around us but between us and every possible approach vector. Not aggressive, protective. A private channel opened. Asset confirmed, a familiar voice said. Threat probability rising. You okay? I smiled despite myself. Still breathing, I said. Got company. We see them, the voice replied. We've been seeing them. The Queen leaned closer. They were watching before I arrived. Earth doesn't like surprises, I said. On the external feeds, alien scouts drifted at the edge of sensor range, council observers pretending not to observe. None crossed the line, because the line was clear now. The Queen swallowed. You didn't bring generals, she said softly. No, I agreed. Generals give speeches. She looked back at the fleet. These, she hesitated, professionals, I finished. They solve problems so other people can sleep. A sudden pulse rippled through the chamber. Not energy, emotion. The lights dimmed slightly. The Queen gasped, one hand bracing the console. I was already at her side. It's okay, I said. What happened? She looked at me, eyes wide, glowing brighter than before. The child felt them, she whispered. Felt who? Your people. The room hummed. Every human ship shifted, microscopic corrections, synchronized without command. The voice in my ear sharpened. We just detected a psionic feedback wave, it said. Origin unknown. I looked at the Queen's hand, her palm pressed to her abdomen. The glow pulsed, steady, curious, not afraid. She's responding, the Queen said, not defensively. To what? I asked. Her voice was reverent now. To intent. The council tried to reopen the channel. I ignored it. They don't understand, the Queen said. They think power is force. I watched the fleet silent, waiting, patient. No, I said, they don't understand us. Another pulse rolled outward. This one stronger. Alien scouts recoiled, systems glitching, crews panicking. The human ships didn't move. They didn't need to. The Queen's voice trembled. She's not projecting fear, she said. She's projecting certainty. I felt it then, a pressure behind the eyes, not pain, recognition. The voice in my ear went quiet, then returned lower. We're reading harmonics, it said. That signal's syncing with our neural dampeners. I closed my eyes. "That's impossible," I whispered. The Queen looked at me. "No," she said gently, "it's inherited." I met her gaze. "She's learning," I said. "Yes," the Queen replied. "And she knows," she added softly, "who will protect her." Outside, the spiral engine stayed idle, weapons stayed cold. Because no one needed to be told, this was a line the galaxy would not cross. The council chamber finally erupted. They couldn't pretend anymore. Channels flared open across the system. Hundreds of them, alien voices overlapping in panic, accusation, and fear. "This violates every interstellar statute. That entity is unstable. Human influence is corrupting the child." I stood in the center of it all, arms crossed, listening. The Queen didn't shout. She didn't need to. She raised one hand. The noise stopped. Not because she commanded them, because something else did. The glow from her abdomen intensified, no longer reactive, no longer passive. Focused, a wave rippled outward, sharper than before. Council ships staggered as their systems flooded with conflicting telemetry. Psionic shielding overloaded. Translation matrices stuttered. One delegate screamed as their console went dark. "Stop this," a counselor shouted. "You're endangering us all." "No," the Queen said calmly. "You are." She turned to me. "She understands threat," she said, "and she understands intent." My jaw tightened. "Then she knows they're scared." "Yes," the Queen replied. "And she knows why." A new signal appeared on the tactical feed, not from the Council, from inside their perimeter. Multiple vessels broke formation, sleek predatory weapons hot. Black hulls marked with no insignia. Unregistered combatants, my earpiece crackled. They were hiding in Council space. A cold realization hit me. "They were waiting," I said. "To take her," the Queen finished. "The false diplomats didn't bother with words, they fired. The first shot never reached us. It vanished, not deflected, not absorbed, erased." Space folded in on itself for a heartbeat, then snapped back like nothing had happened. Every screen froze, every voice died mid-sentence. The Queen gasped, not in pain, but shock. "She did that," she whispered. The child pulsed again. This time the effect was undeniable. A pressure rolled through the system, gentle, precise. The attacking ships lost power, all of it. Weapons cold, drives silent. Life support stable but locked, held. The human fleet reacted instantly. Containment beams snapped into place, not to destroy but to secure. No one fired a single lethal shot. The Council watched in stunned silence. "That was restraint," one delegate murmured. I exhaled slowly. "She learned it from us," I said. The Queen turned, eyes shining. "She didn't neutralize them because they were dangerous," she said. "She neutralized them because they were wrong." The Council finally understood what they'd been playing with. Not a weapon, not a symbol, a mind learning morality from humans. A message flashed across every channel overriding Council authority. Earth Response Authority, jurisdiction asserted the voice that followed was calm, flat. "This system is now under protective quarantine," it said. "Any hostile action will be interpreted as intent." The Queen looked at me. "They will try again," she said. "Yes," I agreed. "But not like this." She placed her hand over her abdomen again. The glow softened, curious now, almost warm. "She chose not to kill," the Queen said quietly. "That matters," I replied. She nodded. "To her," she said, "and to them." Outside, the galaxy held its breath because the child had acted, and the universe had survived. The Council didn't vote. They fractured. Screens across the chamber split as delegations disconnected, some in fury, others in fear. Entire species pulled their ambassadors without a word. A few stayed, silent, watching, calculating. They had all seen the same thing. A child who could end fleets and chose not to. That scared them more than destruction ever could. One counselor finally spoke, their voice shaking. "You're asking us to trust a being that could erase us." I stepped forward before the Queen could answer. "No," I said. "We're asking you to stop acting like everything powerful exists to be used." A ripple of unease moved through the chamber. "You raised weapons," I continued. You hid kill teams in diplomatic space. You planned to steal a child before she was even born. I pointed toward the frozen black ships still drifting helplessly. She learned restraint, I said. From the species you keep calling primitive. Silence. Then another voice, older, steadier. What does Earth want? There it was, not fear, not outrage, the real question. I didn't hesitate. Recognition, I said, of her personhood, of her rights, and of ours. The Queen placed a hand on my arm, not to stop me, to stand with me. This child, she said, her voice echoing through every channel, will not be catalogued, studied, or weaponized. A few counselors bristled. And if she becomes a threat, one demanded. The Queen's gaze hardened. Then I will answer for her, she said, and humanity will answer with me. The chamber exploded in protest, but before it could spiral, Earth spoke again, not a general. Not a politician, a civilian voice, measured, unemotional. This is Earth defense, the voice said. We are issuing a declaration of custodial protection. New data flooded the feeds, treaties. Fallback clauses, historical precedents. Earth wasn't improvising. They had planned this the moment the truth came out. You may oppose, the voice continued. You may withdraw. You may sanction, a pause, but any attempt to seize, harm, or manipulate the child will be met with immediate containment. Not retaliation, containment. The Council understood what that meant. Earth wouldn't conquer them. Earth would stop them. A delegate whispered almost to themselves, they don't want control, they want responsibility. I let out a slow breath. The Queen looked down, eyes softening as the glow within her settled, steady now. She's listening, she said quietly, to everything. I crouched slightly, lowering my voice. She's learning what we stand for, the Queen smiled faintly. Then let us teach her well. Across the chamber, a single council emblem dimmed, then changed color, a vote cast, then another. Not unity, but momentum. The galaxy wasn't ready to accept her, but it was no longer willing to destroy her. Outside, Earth's fleet held position, silent, unmoving, not threatening, unyielding. Because this was the line, and humanity had drawn it with open hands. The chamber went silent, not a whisper, not a breath. Not a single hum from the hovering servitors. All eyes were on her, on the Queen's child, now fully visible through the protective cradle. Her small form was wrapped in soft bioluminescent fibers, glowing faintly against the dark metal of the council hall. For a moment everything stopped. Even time seemed to pause. She blinked. Her first sight was not of grandeur or power, not of alien empires or massive fleets. Her first sight was me. And she reached out. Her tiny hand gripped mine. The council gasped. Some of their species had never seen such a gesture of trust. The Queen's hand hovered near mine, ready to intervene, but she didn't. She let the moment happen. She knows, the Queen whispered almost to herself. She knows who we are. And she did. The first cries of the child were not screams of fear or anger. They were soft, deliberate, resonant. A tone that seemed to echo, even in the minds of the counselors. It was not a human cry, yet it carried the weight of human resilience. I knelt beside the cradle, lowering my voice. You will learn, I said, that power isn't proof of greatness. Action, choice, and restraint, those are what define us. The counselors shifted, uncomfortable. They weren't used to being lectured by a human, let alone one addressing them as equals. Outside, Earth's fleet remained at the perimeter, silent, but every ship's sensors recorded the event. Every captain, every pilot, every engineer, they were witnesses to history. The child's gaze moved across the room. Her eyes glowed faintly with intelligence beyond her years, yet her choice was clear. She would grow under guidance, not coercion. The Queen stepped back, bowing her head slightly. The galaxy may fear what they do not understand, she said, voice steady. But today they will see that humanity teaches responsibility, not domination. And in that instant, every council system received the same message. This child is under human protection. Any aggression toward her will be met with immediate containment and strategic response. She is ours and we are hers. Some counselors argued, some threatened, but Earth had prepared for them all. Every scenario, every contingency, every threat had been accounted for. It wasn't victory through fire. It was victory through foresight, unity, and restraint. The first human smile of the child was tiny, but it reached across the cosmos. It was a signal to the galaxy. Humans do not fear power, but they respect it. They do not dominate, but they enforce responsibility. They are not just a species, they are a standard. And so the Queen's child learned her first lesson, not from fear, not from intimidation, but from humanity itself. The galaxy would remember this moment forever. Aliens would whisper it in corridors. Scholars would record it in archives. Empires would reconsider their assumptions. Humans had drawn a line. They had shown restraint, foresight, and courage. And from that day forward, every sentient being understood, to cross humanity was not just foolish, it was impossible. I straightened, looking down at her tiny hand gripping mine. "Welcome to the galaxy," I whispered. "And remember, we never stop watching, but we never stop teaching either." The chamber's lights dimmed. The hum of the council hall returned. And in that quiet, the galaxy exhaled, knowing something fundamental had changed. Humans weren't just survivors. Humans were guardians, and their legacy had just begun.